The brains of this operation is not braining at the moment.
Well, what's new there?
Wow, how harsh. How harsh is that? No, the levels would not... In fact, that level there was down there, and as I slid it up, it got quieter.
Right.
So then I had to slide it back down, and then it worked. So all of the sliders were not behaving themselves. Are you ready?
Sure.
Let me just... Can you just say sure again?
Sure?
Excellent.
Sure.
Hey. How you doing?
These are roads.
Sure.
No.
Colin had a problem and a microphone to spare. Thomas took it up and so the podcast went to air. For weeks and months they trolled through every single DVD. They've unwrapped all the ones they can and now they're cellulose free. Now they're cellulose free.
Hello, dear listener, and welcome to Cellulose Free. My name is Colin, and with me, as always, is my fellow film watcher, compadre and son, Thomas.
Hi, hello.
What haven't you been up to?
Well, so many things.
Yeah?
So many things I haven't been up to. Just a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I'm not sure what you were hoping for out of that question.
Well, I was hoping you'd say, and how about yourself? And I would have said a whole heap of things as well. We've got a film to it. What have you been up to?
Earlier this week, I finally received, in ebook form, a book that I paid for almost 5 years ago now.
Right. How does that work?
Crowdfunding.
Ah, gotcha. Right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. A YouTuber who I follow, Dan Hardcastle, or Nerd Cubed, previously written a humorous non-fiction book about video games that he loved, and decided to branch out into fiction. And so
to write about games he'd never played that he really loved.
And into science fiction. And so 5 years ago, started a campaign with crowdfunding book publisher Unbound, the fruits of which have only just now come out.
Right.
In a few months, I'm expecting a hardcover copy to appear on our doorstep.
Right.
But the ebook was ready, so it is available now.
Fair enough.
The Paradox.
Okay.
About as sweary as one would expect from a Dan Hardcastle book. But,
I can imagine.
very complicated in places. I possibly need to go back and check exactly which alien races were involved in which characters, because there's some complicated aliens.
Oh, that'll do my head in.
There's also time travel and non-linear storytelling.
Right. So has the length of time been production problems or the fact that it's taken him 5 years to write it?
I mean, sometimes things take 5 years.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I feel like some of it can be chalked up to the pandemic.
Yeah, I can imagine being a writer, how much of an effect the pandemic would have on you. Yeah. Didn't it take the guy who did Stardew Valley 5 years to make Stardew Valley?
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, George R.R. Martin is still writing The Winds of Winter, apparently.
Is he blaming the pandemic?
No. No. His problems go back further than that.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. But it's a good book?
I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think I need to go back for some bits.
Yeah. And if you are familiar with the author, who I'm not, you can expect swearies.
Yeah. It's less problematic to be reading a book with swear words in it in this house.
Well, indeed.
As long as I don't go around reading the book aloud to myself while everyone's in the house, it should be fine.
I'm assuming that the thing that you were reading the other night when you were suddenly bursting into chuckles
Yes.
Yeah, when I said, what have I told you about finding things funny on the internet? There's a long-running gag in this household.
I'm reading a book. I might have bought and downloaded it from the internet, but I'm reading a book.
And it wasn't reading out loud to you?
No.
So you were laughing out loud to something that you had consciously read?
Yes.
I don't know whether I've ever done that.
At some point, I am expecting an audiobook, seeing as I have, at the same time, also had paid for an audiobook.
Right.
But
is he going to read it?
Don't know.
Right.
Hard to say.
Right.
This...
taking 5 years, he's lost the opportunity for James L. Jones to read it. So
it's funny. In the more traditional publishing spaces, they tend to discourage authors from reading their own audiobooks. And then Matt Parker, a maths YouTuber who's written a few books, is like, no, I think I will, though.
So is that the Australian?
Penguin. Yes, that's the Australian who lives in the UK, yes.
Yeah. Well, he's got a good voice for it.
Yeah.
So that works.
Yeah.
Speaking of hearing voices,
yeah,
we do apologise if you can't hear ours. It is blowing a gale outside. There are cows flying through the air and windmills and grain silos. It's quite gustulous out there and blusterous. So we do apologise having a chimney right behind the microphones that is amplifying all of that wind activity. On cue, did you notice that?
So yeah, after 5 years of waiting, that was a good evening's read.
You just ploughed through it.
Yeah.
Good. Anything else?
No, nothing worth talking about.
Huh.
Yeah.
So it was goated then?
No.
Oh, not the greatest of all time then?
No. Even a particularly good book could not save the past 2 weeks that I've had.
Sorry, I was more focused on the book itself. Was the book goated?
Yeah, it was a good book.
Right, good. Was it the greatest, though?
No.
Sorry, I learnt a new... I admit, being an old man, I learnt a new word today.
Right.
Yeah. So this podcast is goated.
Apparently. I've looked at our app. Apparently it's the only thing some of our listeners listen to. And the rest are apparently listening to the Joe Rogan Experience. So that's great.
Well, those who are only listening to this, perhaps we need to give them the key to their handcuffs by now.
Congratulations. You and only you, the ones only listening to this podcast, are our target audience.
A welcome especially to our listeners in the UK. Apparently that's where almost 50%, I believe, of our listeners are. Never heard from any of you, but welcome. Yeah. Hello, you over there in the back. Hey.
Once I got to the bit about the Joe Rogan Experience, it sort of crowded out all the other information that I could have gotten from the Wrapped. Distressing news.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not sure about the company we keep, really.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was your week.
That was. What was yours?
Well, apart from learning the word goated, I got sunburnt.
Yeah.
Because I gardened for once. I'm just not a gardener, but the weeds had got a little out of control and we decided, well, we'd better do something about that. And so I went out and it was quite overcast when I did it. Honest it was. But it still managed to get a slice of my back where my shirt kept on sliding up. And
yes, because a couple of clouds are really going to keep the UV away.
So I can fry eggs on that little strip of skin on my back.
Right.
It's great. Yeah, a bit uncomfortable. Speaking of books and ordering books, I happened upon a particular book that I've been trying to get my hands on for a while, secondhand on eBay, and so I ordered it. It was an Australian seller.
Yeah.
Got a message back saying you need to be aware that the front cover is getting a little, much like me, fairly old and decrepit. So they said, look, just be aware that you probably need to get some tape into this book. And the price reflected that it was a fair copy, and the description did say that. And I thought that was cool. And then saw this other copy pop up. And so I thought, That's cheap too. Ordered it and then sent a message saying, I just saw this pop up and said, yeah, I didn't really realise we had 2 copies, and after selling the first one and grabbing that, I listed the second one right there and then. And so I ordered the second one.
Yeah.
And they replied saying, look, that won't go out until tomorrow. Yeah, that's fine. So that was a week and a half ago, or maybe 2 weeks ago. 4 or 5 days after ordering the first one, the second one turned up.
Right.
Yeah, so the one that was sent a day later turned up first.
Yeah.
I said, oh, okay, you know how the mail is. And so I waited and waited, and it was just over a week yesterday when I thought, look, I might have to send them a note saying, I reckon this one's disappeared. Because the one that did arrive, the one that I ordered second, did arrive, but the envelope itself had sort of looked like the tape had failed and was... I had visions of this other copy sitting in a bin somewhere, having been separated from its envelope, and was getting ready to send a note saying, this is the deal. Second one came first and the other one hasn't turned up. And I was sitting in front of the computer to type this letter, and someone parked outside our front door and walked up the path, and Wendy answered the door, and I couldn't hear all the conversation, but she said, thank you very much, and then came in and had this envelope with a book in it.
Uh-huh.
And so it had obviously been delivered to the wrong place. Well, it turns out it was like 4 suburbs away.
Right.
So how on earth, it was correctly addressed. It too, envelope-wise, was a bit sus. So I told this story in far better and far shorter words to the seller, and we all had a few white forehead moment, and she said, right, I must speak to the post office because we had an agreement that they would tape up even though the envelopes had been sealed, they were going to tape them up, and they had this arrangement, and they hadn't been doing that. So, but yeah, I got both copies. And indeed, one copy is in far better condition than the other. So, don't know why I told that story. That's what I've been up to.
Yeah.
Waiting for mail. Oh, I did perform surgery on a laptop and inserted a solid-state drive into it, which made me terribly, terribly nervous. Usually when I'm opening up electronics, it's a device that is well and truly on its last legs. And if I do damage to it, then, it's worth the effort to see if I can fix it. But this was a situation where I'm removing a whole heap of screws and lifting this and inserting that in a fairly new device. Anyway, we've got a film to watch.
We do.
Let's watch a film.
Yeah.
What are we watching today?
We are watching The Family Man.
The Family Man?
The Family Man.
Why did you choose that?
I didn't choose this. You chose this.
Actually, just speaking of choosing this, I did notice when I brought it up on the My Movies database that I've actually got it marked as a film that I wanted to revisit.
Uh-huh.
Even though that's not why I picked it. I thought, we need a Christmas movie. And I thought, I don't think Thomas has seen The Family Man. Let's watch that.
Yeah.
But not only did I have it as I want to revisit, I've got it marked as Colin's Final 8.
Right.
So somehow it was on the very shortened list of when we were actually wrapping up the podcast. And we didn't watch it in the Final 8, so it must have been the one, because I think there was an odds and evens. And so we had a few spare or something like that.
I think you may have swapped it out for... the one film that we white flagged.
That's right. Yes. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, our one and only white flag usurped this film.
Yeah.
And now it's finally having its chance to shine. Would you tell our dear listener what The Family Man is all about?
I will, in several paragraphs.
Great.
Nick, a high-powered, high-living Wall Street bachelor, finally gets to experience one of life's big questions. What if? What if he had married his college sweetheart? What if he had become a father? What if he had never moved out of the suburbs? What if he had chosen love instead of power? It's Christmas Eve, and as usual, Nick is working late. Alone in his clinical Manhattan penthouse, he falls asleep, and wakes up the next morning in a chaotic suburban New Jersey house with a wife and 2 children. It's the life he had always feared and dreaded, but in his attempts to fathom the mystery and escape from this seismic shift, Nick makes the biggest discovery of all. Maybe he chose the wrong path in life. But it might just be too late to alter the destiny that awaits him.
Oh, Nick. The character's name is Nick. Who
Yep.
plays Nick?
Nicolas Cage.
Wow. That's uncanny.
But this is Nick with a K.
Ah. Thomas is going to open the box. He's going to take the disc out of its case. Only he's just discovered there's no disc in there, and this has been a complete waste of time. Oh no, there is a disc. Phew. That's lucky. He's going to take the disc out of its case. He's going to put it in the machine. We are going to watch it. And then we're going to come back and talk about it. So we shall catch you on the flip side.
Turn to side B, which might be the better side.
Right.
Statistically, this podcast, probably the better side.
Ah, okay. Well, if we put it print side down, there won't be anything to watch.
No.
Let's watch this mongrel. So what did you think?
First of all, I think I need to correct what I said last week, which was that I hadn't seen Next, and that I thought I had seen this film.
Uh-huh.
It was actually the other way round.
Yep. Yeah. I can imagine Next sort of being tempting for you to watch. I can't see you gravitating necessarily towards this film. But I could be wrong.
And having seen it now, you are quite right.
Oh, wow.
I don't think it's a bad film by any means.
No.
I just didn't get it.
Okay.
It's another long comedy.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly has comedy elements, and it's certainly
it's
listed
a rom-com.
as a comedy, and it is romantic, and it is a rom-com with sort of splashes of It's a Wonderful Life and a vague Groundhog Day type of feeling, but not.
So, unlike It's a Wonderful Life, it gets to its premise quickly.
Yes.
The front half and then some of It's a Wonderful Life is... bogged down is the wrong word. It's slightly too interested in the history of its main character.
Right. Okay.
Up to the point that the change happens.
Are you trying to say that A Very Merry Muppet Christmas does it better?
No, it's...
I wish I'd never been born! I wish I'd never been born!
Structurally, It's a Very Merry Muppet Christmas sticks very much to the form of It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh dear. At least they saved the theatre again.
This doesn't. It spends about 10-15 minutes either side focusing on the old Jack. And it is Jack. I want to be very clear, the character in the film is called Jack, even though the back of the case clearly says Nick at every possible opportunity.
Didn't it? I think Nicolas Cage can be blamed for that. You're typing the blurb, you look at the image, that's Nick. And he was Nicolas Cage in this film. I have very rarely seen him not being Nicolas Cage, if that makes any sense. He's doing best when he's being Nick.
It's just not for me.
No, I am reminded of how glad, maybe, that I watched it the first time round, and felt that it's a warm, fuzzy rom-com Christmas movie. And that is certainly a genre that is not for everyone. And there would be times, certainly, watching this that I would not feel those warm and fuzzies. And maybe I was sort of... It's been a rough couple of weeks for me. Christmas is a bit weird at the moment for me. And so maybe I needed that Christmas warm fuzzies. and I'll probably get it better once we've gone through the family Christmas classics a bit.
I just need something with either a little more meat or considerably less meat.
Right. Yeah, it certainly, unless you're in the zone, and I don't know whether that zone actually exists, but one could argue that it didn't quite know what it was trying to be. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a Nicolas Cage movie is what it was trying to be. So I certainly enjoyed it more than you did. And I guess I got a bit teary. The heartstrings were well and truly tugged at the appropriate times, quite methodically, and I guess the strings caught on me and not so much on you.
I'm just not very sentimental.
No. You can be. There have been occasions where we have been quite shocked at how sentimental you are, usually to our detriment, as in we'd forgotten something, and you have protested that, hey, what about this? Oh, okay, you're sentimental about that. Okay, it was a Danny Elfman soundtrack, and it was solid. It worked well for this film. It didn't get ridiculously Danny Elfman, but it suited the feel of the movie. It did not impose, but it also added to the film, I thought. The only other note that I have got is about Annie, who Nicolas Cage himself said was precocious.
Yeah. The
young girl, and she was quite precocious, but I have never seen, and I don't know how they did it, perhaps they even got her to go to sleep so that they could half wake her up. I've never seen anyone do a stirring from their sleep and have a half conversation and then go back to sleep so incredibly naturally. Usually when you get a kid to try and do that kind of acting, it's usually overblown and obviously acting. And there were scenes where you could feel her delivering her lines, but that particular scene was just absolutely magic, and I don't know how they did it. So kudos to either her or to the director or to doping up a kid with drugs. Oh, you may laugh. The things that we used to put into you to get you to sleep. No, sorry. I'm glad that I watched it again, and if this was the segment that one was deciding whether it stays on the shelf or not, I'm so glad it is on the shelf that, you know, it won't be a yearly Christmas tradition in any way, shape or form, but I was due to watch that again, and it may be a couple of years before I watch it again, but I'm glad that it's on the shelf, especially as it doesn't seem to be streaming anywhere.
Yeah, not a lot of big production names on it, really. When your distributor is Roadshow, you're not big.
Ow. Oh, that's harsh. Wow. I don't know, there's been some fairly big Roadshow releases. Beacon Studios is certainly less of a name, but it also had some big names in it. I don't know, was it classed as an indie movie? I know that Nicolas Cage does occasionally do that kind of thing. Just find a script and says, I want to do that.
Okay, so originally, internationally, it was distributed by Buena Vista. But then Buena Vista would distribute anything back in the day.
Yeah. If I had not seen the opening and closing, if I was asked, who do you reckon would have distributed that? It reeked of Buena Vista.
Universal in North America.
Fair enough.
The fact that it has moved down to Roadshow.
Yeah. And that was a number of years ago too. So it's certainly been on the shelf for a long time. Anyway, it was a thumbs up from me and a meh from you. And you can take that as you like from...
Just needs...
Hey, it had aliens in it.
There's just too much in the middle.
Yeah.
I need it to get to the point.
Fair enough. Well, that was The Family Man. I think we might move on then.
Yeah.
The
And we will start over on Discord with Entuosferatu.
Hi, Entuosferatu.
An unusually long discussion for a movie that was not terrible.
So I guess this one was fair to middling. We certainly had a long opening, but as far as talking about the film, it wasn't terribly long. So, yeah, maybe we're breaking with tradition.
The biggest win for no indoor smoking besides restaurants, and how was that ever tolerated,
I don't know.
was bowling alleys. Even disregarding the active smokers, so many nasty carpets and walls with 40 years of chain-smoking bowler residue.
Yeah.
Talking about films with considerably less meat. Feeling particularly down earlier this week, and I was like, I need to consume some trash.
Yeah.
And what I came upon was Big Trouble.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
As in Little China?
No.
Oh. Oh, okay. So it's Big Trouble in Little China without Little China. And Kurt Russell.
No, it didn't have Kurt Russell. It had Tim Allen in it, actually.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And this film is from
I see the Santa Claus in your future.
No. Touchstone.
So Buena Vista Mark II.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is from 2002. This is a film that is not good, and I do not recommend.
But it has bowling alleys in it.
It had smoking in restaurants in it.
Okay.
And it was what I needed at the time.
Fair enough. There is such a thing. I mean, popcorn chicken from KFC. Of all the unhealthy things you can stick in your body, that is one of them.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's what you need.
That is my go-to from KFC.
I know, and it is mine too. Genetics.
I think it's something about the high seasoning to meat ratio.
Yeah. It's the coating that I like most about KFC. And so if you reduce the amount of meat into a ball and then surround it with the coating, that's as much coating as you're going to get.
Yeah.
Yeah. But certainly, I think you can be predisposed to junk television and junk films. It's
a film about a bunch of terrible people in Miami who get into
small amounts of trouble.
Quite big trouble. Trouble involving a small nuclear device.
Oh, okay. So guess what we're watching next week, Dills?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's not good.
Okay, but question, would you watch it again?
I think I'd need to be in the same sort of terrible mood.
Yeah, that is... no, it's not. I was going to say Battleship is like that for me, but no, Battleship is many tiers above having to be desperate to watch it again. That's my popcorn chicken, yeah. But smoking...
Yeah.
I've got an even worse spot.
Oh, yeah?
Cinemas. Smoking in cinemas. So, because it gets in your eyes whilst you're trying to watch the film, and...
The good news about this smoking in restaurants is that someone does something about it. It's one of the terrible people who does something about it.
Good.
But the person smoking is also terrible.
Right.
It's all terrible people in this film.
Is there a fire extinguisher involved?
Yes, there is a fire extinguisher involved.
Good.
It's not used as a fire extinguisher.
Oh. Okay, it's used as a heavy blunt object.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Does the person stop smoking after that?
It's not related.
Oh, okay.
Completely different scene.
Okay.
No.
Right.
No, there's an assassin trying to have a meal in a restaurant.
Okay.
With his partner. And it's like, my meal, it's just ruined by all this smoke. And so he goes and breaks his hand.
Right, good,
Yeah.
good.
Tries a more polite approach to begin with. The reasonably amicable assassins. But
Oh, good. The best kind.
the one sane pair in the film, to be honest.
Bowling alleys.
Yeah.
Smoking, restaurants smoking, cinemas smoking, bus smoking, plane smoking.
Yes, that tangent out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Entwosferatu continues. My vote is for sour, the taste that is not on any particular part of the tongue despite the map, especially in combination. Given my cocktail taste, sweet plus sour plus bitter is a great combo.
Right.
But sour is the heart of it.
So I wonder, my understanding is, and I could be entirely wrong about this because I'm not a cocktail person, but I believe that lemon, lime and bitters, it's an Australian drink, hits all of those combinations as well. So I'm going to have to double check. Oh, it is classed as a cocktail. Today it has been described by the national broadcaster as Australia's national drink.
Right.
Due to its ubiquity on restaurant menus and availability as a pre-mixed beverage. It was served as a non-alcoholic alternative to pink gin.
Yeah, bitter's typically at least a little alcoholic.
Yeah, but with the lemon lime bitters, you've got the agnostura bitters bottle, and you just swirl a little bit in the cup and swish it around, and then you add your lemon and lime, and so it's, I think, lemonade and lime. I don't know. My brother would know. He's more into that kind of thing. Anyway, check that out if you haven't tried your lemon, lime and bitters.
I won't, but all right then.
Yeah, there we go. If I'd read the top of the Wikipedia page, mixed drink of lemonade, lime juice and bitters.
Over on Facebook, Helen.
Hi, Helen.
So, following this review of Tomorrowland, I'm not totally sure I would want to watch this because I think I might have higher priority films on my watch list. If only I could remember what they were.
I think we've talked about this. You need a spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that.
Or at least a note.
Yeah. Or, and this is an unsponsored plug for Just Watch, which has pretty much everything movie-wise that is streaming around that you can stick a watch list on.
Yep.
Do that.
It's the end of the year and my memory has finally given up trying to keep up with anything. I at least managed to remember to listen to this episode before you recorded tonight's one. Feel that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You just wait till you're old.
Which will take us up to the guesses.
Will.
Helen has provided us with Tomorrowland. That's Tmrwland. And that's what I would have gone with. Which, if you were listening last week, I think it came up during the recording.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. If you were listening last week, might suggest to you that you haven't quite got it.
No. Sorry, Helen. You are incorrect.
And Entwosferatu has gone with Tomorrowland. That's Tmrrwland.
What, no vowels?
Yes, that is correct. No vowels.
That is correct. No vowels.
That is correct. No vowels.
Well done, Entwosferatu. You are correct. No vowels.
Correct.
Correct. Yes, so you can have an arbitrary point, Entwosferatu. Enjoy. It's even got Christmas tinsel on it this week. There we go. And I'm showing Thomas what the 8 alphanumeric file name is. I wish I knew what I was saying today. I just don't.
Yeah, I got it.
There we go. So, this week's film was Family Man. What did I do to crunch that down into 8 alphanumerics? Have a guess.
Or provide any other sort of commentary, film suggestions, in all the usual places.
Yep. They're listed in the show notes and in the closing credits.
Or possibly where you're listening right now.
Yeah. And I'm pointing down at the show notes.
Yeah.
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 All right. I think we'll move on.
Pick a film for next week so we can go to bed.
And it's your turn.
It is my turn.
And you've had long enough. So out with it. What have you
And
chosen
I
for
definitely
ultimate episode for the...
And I definitely didn't start thinking about it minutes before we started recording.
We're watching Big Trouble. It stars Tim Allen.
No, so you know how I said that I'd seen Next?
Right.
I was looking over our Christmas selection, and I was like, nah, I'm not really feeling any of those.
Not feeling the Christmas?
For a moment there, I was thinking of the Zemeckis Christmas Carol.
Oh, ew.
Yeah.
Oh. Sorry, I say that, but I have not watched it.
No.
The Polar Express just did my head in completely for heading in that direction ever again.
And I am led to believe that it gets worse from there.
The small snippets that I have seen of Zemeckis' Christmas Carol, I can believe it. And it also stars someone who I don't have a particular fondness for.
The characters in The Polar Express at least vaguely look like normal humans.
Oh, vaguely, yeah. Vaguely.
So, backburnering Zemeckis Christmas Carol.
All right, then.
Some other year. If we get there.
Yeah.
And none of the other Christmas options were particularly appealing to me. And what even is a New Year's film?
Well, that's what I was wondering last week when you said, maybe we'll have a New Year's film. And I'm going, okay, all right. What is that?
Is what the Doctor Who TV movie is technically a New Year's film.
Oh, it is too, isn't it?
But no, instead I'm going with what I should have gone with all along, which is Next.
Okay. Coming up next.
Which has nothing to do with Christmas or New Year's.
It doesn't. It doesn't. It does involve looking into the future, which one does at New Year's. You know, making... All right, I'm clutching. Or reaching or something. We're watching Next week.
Yeah.
Would you tell our dear listeners what Next is all about?
Chris Johnson earns his living in a seedy Las Vegas magic act, but his ability to see a few minutes into the future is authentic. Government agent Kelly Ferris knows this, and relentlessly recruits him to help thwart a terrorist group for detonating a nuclear bomb in the heart of Los Angeles. Will the reluctant hero join the desperate race against the clock by daring to see what is next?
That's what's up next.
It is.
We hope that you can join us next week, but until then, we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
You have been listening to Cellulose Free. Your hosts were Colin, who produces and edits the show, and Thomas, who makes the artwork and music. Cellulose Free is recorded in the Deranged Cat Studios in scenic Tasmania, Australia. We keep track of our extensive physical media collection through My Movies, which we highly recommend. You can find links to that, as well as other places you can find us in the show notes. Cellulose Free is a Hi Hello production.
Or that's next time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye. My brain hurts.
Well, go get a damp cloth. And thicker glasses.
Why do I need thicker glasses?
Don't they all wear thick... The Gumbos, don't they all wear thick glasses?
Who are the Gumbos?
My brain hurts.
Oh, Mr. Gumby. Isn't it Gumby?
It might be Gumby.
I think it's Gumby.
Yeah.
My brain hurts. I'll open the door and come in. I've got my head stuck
yeah, it's
in a
the
cup.
Gumbies.
Yeah. Gee. I wonder I didn't know what you're talking about. Good grief, I'm stopping.